I think you just hit it when you said it's way more obvious. A student who is hyperactive, you're going to notice them. They're going to be maybe louder than their peers, or they're moving around a lot, fidgeting, moving their chairs, falling out of chairs. There's just a lot of attention on it versus a child who is struggling with inattention in that moment is often going to be a lot more quiet, and it's a little bit of a less visible symptom of ADHD. And something that comes to mind with that is I think many of us can relate to like reading a paragraph, realizing you weren't paying attention, and then needing to read it over again. But that's something that students with ADHD are experiencing over and over and over. And it happens really quietly, and it's happening during large group school lessons, independent classwork, and homework. And they're just really having a hard time engaging. And it can be easy to miss. I know I can think of being a classroom teacher, and I'm making my rounds around the room, and I eventually get to a student who has nothing done on their paper, not even their name. And I'm asking the student, hey, what's going on? A lot of times they're even just surprised as you, like they had no clue that 15 minutes went by where they did nothing because they were just unable to kick themselves into gear and get going. And it's like I know I keep repeating it, but it's a very quiet process.
Yeah,
So you need to be able to recognize that and look for those kinds of signs in order to catch them. And if you don't have experience yet or you're not knowledgeable yet, it can be really easy to miss.
yeah. And the study goes along with exactly what you said. It literally says that like the inattention symptoms are so much more strongly linked to academic achievement than hyperactivity because schools are rewarding that sustained attention. They're rewarding your multi-step instruction following, your writing endurance, your working memory and or your quiet task completion as you brought up like why didn't you do anything in the last 15 minutes? Because you don't realize that like those quiet strugglers go unnoticed. They're not because you don't always have the time to look around and see like, oh, you didn't do anything. Like, how can I help you refocus or whatnot? And so it's really important that you can see that like grades measure that sustained cognitive regulation. And that's why it's impacting more than that hyperactivity because the energy or the creativity is not being measured in school anymore.
Yeah, I agree. Something that came to mind while you were speaking on that as well is class sizes, I think can definitely have an impact. So when you have, a small private school that you're able to have 15 children or less, then you can kind of catch those things maybe a little bit more quickly because the teacher has less students to focus on versus a class of 25 to sometimes even 35 students. It's a lot. And especially if you have multiple students with ADHD, it's challenging for a teacher to be able to see, to notice, and to then give that support to that student in the moment.
Yeah. So if schools can shrink or widen a gap, what responsibility does that create?
I mean, I think as educators, the success of the student is on you. It's definitely a two-part system. You need the child to work with you for sure, and you need the families to work with you. But as educators, we're the ones with the training and the background. So I think a lot of the weight is also carried on us to help support those students. And if we're unable to, then to find the support that we can get for them.